Ubuntu should be an expression of who you are daily, not like once a year, when there are days you want to feel like a good human, so you go to a place of safety for babies and you hug babies that maybe don't even want to be hugged.
Hello, MRF scholars. Welcome to the start of your activation month. I hope that this October is an inspiring learning experience that allows you to connect with many people as you share your work outside of our immediate circle. Today, I am excited to invite you back into this little MRF virtual space once again. I have the pleasure of sharing with you a conversation that I had with Nisha Varghese, who is a crowdfunding aficionado in the nonprofit organization space. The title of this video and the theme of our conversation is Creative Pivot, Overcoming All or Nothing Thinking by Blazing Your Own Path. The aim of this video is really to reflect on the factors that often stop us from making the impact and contributing to the change that we want to see in our own communities. It's to inspire you to think differently about scaled impact, the power of being present, and the power of our circle of influence. Lastly, it is to encourage you to be more motivated by locality and consistency and small incremental steps that can turn 50 Rand into 750,000 Rand. You are on the last leg of your journey, and I hope that this conversation inspires you to not discount your power and your work, and that what is more important than perfection is really diligence and empathy. I hope you enjoy the video. Welcome, Nisha, to the MRF virtual space. We invite people here to share their stories and to inspire scholars, so we're really happy to have you here. I would love to introduce you, but I think you should introduce yourself in your own words. So if you could tell us, who is Nisha and what does Nisha do?
Nisha is a human being who strives to make a difference and inspire others to do the same.
I know that on social media, you kind of call yourself a humanitarian and a crowdfunding specialist. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, in 2009, I was watching an episode of Oprah Winfrey. I saw this girl, after her kidney transplant, she basically asked people to donate instead of giving her get well gifts. And I just thought maybe I could do that as well. Seeing as though I have health challenges in my own life. So then I started looking for ways that I could make a difference, even if it was in a small way. I first started with UNICEF. I raised about 50 Rand. A woman at the church was kind enough to donate, but that was like a total flop. But then a year later, I started a fund to build a well in Kenya. It took about 2 years, but I did it, and I think the well is still operational today. And after that, I just started fundraising for other causes as well, like cleft lip, cleft foot, and so on and so forth. With those projects, I had a bit more success because I had practice and I knew what to do. I
read an article recently that up to, I think, 2020, you had already raised around like almost 750,000 Rand for various charities and humanitarian organizations. In this world where we have so many issues that we are facing, they can be so overwhelming to kind of look at. How did you get started? I first started with my family and with people I knew, who I figured they love me. They can't say no. Yeah.
I also began to use social media effectively.
How do you choose, for example, what you're going to be starting to campaign for?
Uh, First, sometimes I stumble on it, sometimes I hear something in the news, but every time I do research like about stats and facts and how how it affects people, and then I find stories of real people affected by the cause. Like if somebody has clubfoot, I will I will go find real people who have clubfoot and ask them how it affects them.
What has been the impact of storytelling in what you do for fundraising?
So, storytelling is powerful because you're not just telling the stats and the facts, you're telling the story of real life people and the impact it has. Like this organization that I really like is Smile Trains. They show you the journey of a smile. I think it's very effective because people can see where the money is going.
Yeah, yeah. What has been like both the gift and also the curse of using social media and your campaign?
The gift is that you get to reach more people, and then the curse is like people now think you're rich, so they come to you for money.
What other challenges have you faced in like these kinds of projects around fundraising?
The, the challenge is that most people, when I approach them for money and resources, they'll say, why doesn't the government do it? Why are you the one doing it? You're like in a wheelchair. Surely you have your own problems. That's the problem. If we wait for government can only do so much. So the rest is up to you and it's up to me. It's like in our hands. From 2018 till now, I've been dedicated to solely one charity. It's a children's charity called Breath of Life. They take care of abandoned babies and they also provide counseling to women in crisis. So ever since 2018, I haven't been fundraising internationally. I've focused mainly on Breath of Life because I see what they do and I know the children's names and I know their stories and how they ended up there. So I feel a responsibility to those children to make sure that they have everything they need. I might not be there every day and I might not ever be able to adopt a child, but I can show up and be Auntie Nisha who brings cupcakes and kisses and smiles and remembers everyone's birthday. I think people underestimate the value of just being present. I often get asked, what do you do at Breath of Life, right? Because, like, physically, there's not much I can do, but the kids don't care about that. The funny thing is, when I'm there, even the kids who can walk, they come to me. I think they figured out that I can't go to them. So even the kids who can walk, they come and play with me. It's the coolest thing. It's like they understand.
Yeah, that's so cute. That's so perceptive. Kids are very perceptive. I wanted to ask, actually, to your point that you just mentioned now with your work with Breath of Life, because a lot of the other fundraising and or local or humanitarian organizations that you work with, like UNICEF, I know you worked on a water project aimed to build a well in Kenya, the Malala Fund with the Educate Generations, Clean Water for All campaigns. a lot of those, even the Smile Train that you mentioned earlier, are very much like international organizations. And it's been interesting your shift towards Breath of Life that's very local. It's in East London. Was it intentional for you to like go from international organizations to like more next door organizations?
It wasn't actually intentional. I actually wanted to drop off diapers, and then I ended up staying and seeing what they do. And I ended up staying for 5 years. Like, it's very cool in that I can see the impact it has on the children. I can see the impact that the work has. I can see the impact that my money has. I can see the impact that my presence has. The biggest difference with me working for Breath of Life is that I can see everything. Just the fact that the children recognize my face and my voice. Even when I video call them sometimes, they will look directly at the camera because I've been there so many times. I basically lived it.
Wow.
Seeing the impact has been life-changing for me. That's why I haven't shifted back to the international charities. So I'm sure that the children are well taken care of because I've known the staff since 2018.
That's amazing that you've built such a good relationship with the organization staff. I'm sure that's also very important as part of your work.
That's very important because if you have trust, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything in the non-profit sector. Because when I work for you as an organization, I need to be able to trust that when I'm telling the people, when I'm raising 30,000 or however much for you, I need to trust that what I'm telling the people about you is the truth. So that's very important to me.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the criticisms that you might face in the work that you do. Like, do you get some of that? Like, do people criticize what you do? Have you, over the years, obviously, like, and how have you dealt with that, the criticism that you receive?
People have told me that if I continue to fundraise, people will think that I'm doing it for myself or because I'm making some kind of money off it. But I told them I don't care what people think because I know I don't do that. So why would I care what people think?
Yeah.
As long as I'm good with me, I don't care what other people think. Also, I do think it's important to know why you're doing what you're doing. For me, I really want to make a difference and inspire others to do the same. So I focus on that. When people criticize me, I try to remember that and ignore the noise.
Yeah.
Like I really just ignore it and like I pretend like I'm deaf.
How do you deal with the internal voice? Like, because I know we all have some like self-doubt and self-criticism as well, like wondering whether you're doing the right thing, wondering whether you're doing enough. How do you keep that at bay and keep going?
I strangely enough, these days I don't have that voice because I've learned to drown it out with the work that I've already done.
Wow.
So when I have self-doubt and self-criticism or whatever, I just look at what I've done at Breath of Life or how the kids look at me when I show up. Even when I give them nothing, they're just happy that I'm there. And that will drown out your self-criticism or any noise in your head, because you know what you're doing actually has impact. You can see it in the people's faces.
And what are some of the values that also help you to stay motivated, stay on the course, you know?
Kindness, courage, loyalty, and
Mm.
integrity. If you're not if you're not right with you, you can't be right with anyone else. Like if you're lying to yourself, you can't be truthful with anyone else.
I love that, Nisha, you're such a reflective person. Like, I feel like that's also part of your practice, that you do things, but you're always reflecting on both yourself, but also the work that you do. How has that helped you?
I think to reflect is very important, because if you don't reflect, you'll do one thing and then the next thing and then the next thing, and then you'll get lost somehow, and you'll forget why you started, and then you start chasing the money and the things that don't matter. It's, it's important to know what your values are and to live accordingly all the time. Because it's easy to forget when people are offering you money and fancy things. You're like, oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But but if you do stuff for money and then you lose yourself, then it's all going down the toilet. I I try to do what's kind and what's right in my soul. Because sometimes something is right, but it's not right for you. It's very important not to betray yourself.
Yeah.
Like you must stay true to who you are.
So we're kind of coming to the end of our conversation. I'm really loving this. What is your ultimate dream for Africa, or South Africa, or East London?
My dream for South Africa is that the the basic human rights live in reality and not just on paper. I dream that every child has food, water, shelter, clothing, and a good education. Right now, it's written in our constitution, but it's not a reality for everyone. And that breaks my heart every day. Because it should be more than on paper, it should be a reality for everyone. And through my work, I do strive to make it a reality for everyone, but yours, it's really, really hard. South Africa has great potential, but but the rich people need to pitch in a bit more and do their part. Like we have billionaires, and then we have people who are really, really, really poor, and it breaks my heart. We must pitch in and show our value of Ubuntu and our expression of that every day. Before you go anywhere or do anything new in the charitable sense, you should always do your research and ask the people who are already there as a means of respect. Like it's not even like you don't want to do something wrong. You can't just go to a place and make up your own rules.
Yeah, it's so important, because a lot of how we want to sometimes change the world is to come in like helicopters and drop in with our own solutions and our own way of doing things, and to fix things, but not really.
Absolutely. And researching would actually help, and it would show the people there that you respect who they are and what they do. You're not just a person coming in to save them. You want to do the work with them, not to them.
Exactly, exactly. I think we've come to the end of our little conversation. Thank you so much. Like, this has been really insightful for me. I've always been curious about like the work that you do, like how you start campaigning, where it all started. I always read about it in the newspaper articles that are written about you, your radio interviews. But it's so nice to have this one-on-one for me to learn about what you do and what drives you and what inspires you and how you do it every day. And yeah, I think the final question that I have for you, which I think I sent to you, is if you could leave the Mandela Rhodes scholars with one question that they need to think about for their future, especially with their social impact project that they're working on right now, what would it be?
How is the world better because I'm in it? I ask myself that all the day. Every day I ask myself, and every day I make sure that I have things I can look to and say, I did that today. I think kindness is also a habit that we can get into. It's not like a one-time only act that you do when you feel good. Sometimes you show up when you don't feel good, when it's cold and raining and you'd rather be in bed. You show up because you know that the kids are waiting for a hug and a kiss, and sometimes it's not the big things we do, the small things.
That's amazing. That's so powerful. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. That was an amazing question. Thank you so much, Nisha. Thanks so much for your time and for like really allowing me to interview you and to ask you questions. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for this honor, and thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you so much.